So there you are stranded. You should have been home by now. Did you inform the airline about your nut allergy?
I did. I've previously travelled to Cyprus before, and when I've called in advance, other airlines that I've travelled with, they said you don't need to let us know in advance, just when you check in, because obviously they don't know which staff might be working that day aboard the flight. So I did as I was informed previously, and I informed the staff of check-in.
OK, so when you board, you read their website, you read what you thought was their policy towards nuts. You also have one of these cards that shows you're not messing about, this is for real. And initially everybody seemed very understanding. Yeah,
they seem to have their own policy in place. They changed my seat to seat me nearer the back of the aircraft. I think maybe this made it easier for them if they were serving food and stuff, just to make sure that I wouldn't maybe come into contact with nuts. And even when I was at the boarding gate, they also assured me that they were aware that I was the one with the nut allergy.
OK, so that all sounds good. They put you at the back of the aircraft. Then when did the alarm bells ring for you? When did you feel threatened?
It was as everybody else was boarding, and I just happened to see one of the air hostesses walk past me, and I said, oh, I was just wondering, would you be making the announcement to notify the other passengers about my nut allergy before we take off or when we've actually taken off? Because that's something I ask. It normally just makes me feel reassured that, you know, the procedure is in place and they do notify people, because there's nothing currently to stop people bringing on the aircraft, you know, products containing nuts for them to eat. But that's when I was informed that they don't tell the whole plane. They'll ask the row that I'm sitting in and 2 rows in front of me to not eat anything containing nuts. And that first class, which was just like the first few rows at the front of the plane, they will be serving nuts to those passengers because they might pay for them in advance, or it's just something.
From your point of view, you have previous experience because you've been on a tube train before, and you do believe that airborne particles affect you. The medical science is somewhat divided on this theory at the moment, but from experience, you believe that not airborne particles affect you.
Yeah, and not only just the tube, but when there's, you know, there's sellers at the side of the road, say on Tower Bridge, that roast nuts.
Yeah.
I directly after inhaling the smoke and it getting into my eyes and my throat, I've had an emergency rush to St Thomas's Hospital.
So very frightening for you. So when the air steward said no, we won't be announcing that you have a nut allergy, what did you do?
Well, she said to me, have you got medication with you? I said, yeah, but you don't take it before as a precaution. They're EpiPens. It's if you're actually having anaphylactic shock. I said, other airlines that I've travelled with previously, they make an announcement. Other passengers on board don't have a problem with not eating their products that they brought on with them. In fact, I've had passengers stand up towards me and say, I know that you're the one with the nut allergies, just to let you know I have brought nuts with me, but I won't eat them. People want everyone on board to be safe. No one wants an incident. It's not nice for anyone to witness.
OK, Helen, here's the bit none of us can understand, and I will reflect Kate Johnson on Twitter, Lorraine McLeod, Lorraine Allen, Anna Burns, Gary Allen, people who have got in touch with us today, and they're all saying the same thing. What is the big deal? What is the big problem? Why can't airlines just say, do you know what? We're not going to serve peanuts. We're not going to bring them on board. Whose holiday is going to be ruined without a pack of peanuts?
It's very true.
So
it's unbelievable. It just is how the airlines run from this. Have we just lost her?
Well, oh, what a shame, because it got a lot worse then for Helen, because not only did they say to her, we're not going to announce this to the rest of the passengers, and she was obviously saying, well, look, that leaves me in a very dangerous position. They then escorted her off the flight and told her she couldn't fly, and that is why she's still in Cyprus, because she hasn't been able to get home. It's now going to cost her money to book another flight. The British Embassy are trying to help her, but they actually escorted her. So rather than say to all the other passengers, we won't be serving nuts and please don't eat nuts, they escorted her off the plane.
Well, it's attitudes now. It just is attitudes. I think generally the general public are probably now in favour of this, and they see the sense of all this because they think, what if this was me, what would happen? But why are the airlines, why is the Civil Aviation Authority running scared? Probably, I suspect, because they're worried about being sued. If they ban nuts and they say, well, we don't have nuts, but someone still has an attack because a passenger had them on your fingers, or there was some sort of food product that was basted in nuts or whatever it is, they are really worried about this. But
I think if they give the announcement, so rather than banning them, if they just give an announcement to say there is somebody with a severe nut allergy, or we were saying when we were talking about it last week when Amy May was here, that maybe there's something when you check in, they tell you, you know, there's somebody on your flight with a severe nut allergy, then you would know. And I would say 99.9% of people would happily not take nuts on a flight.
1% person, if they bring nuts, you could have a fatality on board with that, because there is always a half-wit.
We said we only have to see Amy May. You only had to see Amy May, our lovely friend and colleague, and, you know, how devastating that has been for her and her family. As you said, why would you need to eat a peanut and somebody like Amy ends up living their life like that?